各位弟兄姊妹，早晨！好歡迎每一位喺網上邊或者嚟到我哋當中嘅，我哋都好歡迎你同我哋一同嘅敬拜神。請聽我讀出今日嘅宣召經文喺《使徒行傳》1章8節。但聖靈降臨在你們身上，你們就必得着能力，並要在耶路撒冷、猶太全地和撒瑪利亞，直到地極，作我的見證。弟兄姊妹，讓我哋一同嘅起立唱詩。而家我哋所在嘅地方係聖潔之地，因為有神喺我哋嘅當中。這是聖潔之地，神在這裏，前來獻上最深的敬拜。這是聖潔之地，神在這裏，設立寶座在榮耀的敬拜裏，我全心來敬拜你主，高舉雙手敬拜你主，在你大能榮耀光中，我匍匐在你寶座前，我全心來敬拜你主，高舉雙手敬拜你主，在你大能榮耀光中，我與眾天使匍匐深深敬拜你。這是聖潔之地，神在這裏，前來獻上最深的敬拜。這是聖潔之地，神在這裏，設立寶座在榮耀的敬拜裏，我全心來敬拜你主，高舉雙手敬拜你主，在你大能榮耀光中，我匍匐在你寶座前，我全心來敬拜你主，高舉雙手敬拜你主，在你大能榮耀光中，我與眾天使匍匐深深敬拜你，我全心來敬拜你主，高舉雙手敬拜你主，在你大能榮耀光中，我匍匐在你寶座前，我全心來敬拜你主，高舉雙手敬拜你主，在你大能榮耀光中，我與眾天使匍匐深深敬拜你，我與眾天使匍匐深深敬拜你。 大家講一個故事。從前呢，有一對宣教士嘅牧師師母，喺佢哋嘅女兒仲係好小嘅時候，佢哋被神差派到去科索沃嘅呢個地方去作宣教士。做咗一個任期，佢哋返到嚟美國，有一個小不更事嘅弟兄問 Brad 牧師：你哋幾時再返去呢個地方啊？當時嘅回答叫呢一個唔係好明白嘅弟兄有啲詫異，因為佢哋話我哋唔知道。神似乎有進一步嘅意思俾我哋去明白。哇！因為呢個弟兄會覺得，既然已經火熱嘅心燃起咗，去到遙遠嘅地方為神嘅工作嚟到去行，似乎決定唔再返去，比返去更加困難。結果呢一對宣教士嘅牧師師母被神再差到去另外一個地方，去到法國。2次嘅任期完咗，佢哋又再返到嚟美國。佢哋仍然嘅等候神。我諗呢首歌特別喺副歌嘅部分，好似有個答案，叫我哋知道點解佢哋可以咁順服。讓我哋一同唱愛是不保留。常聽說世界愛沒長久，哪裏會有愛無盡頭？塵俗的愛只在乎曾擁有，一刻燦爛便要走。而我卻確信愛是恆久，碰到了你已無別求，無從解釋不可說明的愛，千秋過後仍長存不朽。誰人受痛苦被懸掛在木頭？至高的愛盡見於慈存的手，汗血在流，反映愛沒保留，持續不死的愛到萬世不休，為求奉上生命全歸主所有，要將一切盡獻於我主的手。我已決定今生再沒所求，唯望得主稱讚已足夠。誰人受痛苦被懸掛在木頭？至高的愛盡見於慈存的手，汗血在流，反映愛沒保留，持續不死的愛到萬世不休，為求奉上生命全歸主所有，要將一切盡獻於我主的手。我已決定今生再沒所求，唯望得主稱讚已足夠。容許我比較口硬咁樣去嘗試將我頭先所講嘅嘢翻譯一下。So allow me to do a little translation here. I have a story to tell. And once upon a time, there was this missionary couples who went to Kosovo for 1 full term. And when they come back, they kind of don't know much brother asked Pastor Brad, hey, so when are you guys going back? The answer was rather amazing to this little brother, because he said, we don't know yet, because we're waiting for God's further direction. And And this little brother was thinking, hey, how uneasy it is, because they have already been so passionate and sent by God to a remote place to serve. It gotta be even more difficult to not going back. And now they have also been to France, served to another 2 terms, again come back to the United States, and they will again be submissive to God and wait for His message and what He's going to lead them next. And I think the answer maybe is already in this song that we're going to sing, especially in the chorus part of it. So let us try to sing the English version. I've always been told love won't endure. Nowhere can one find love long and true. The world just thinks love comes and passes through. Don't make promise, it's the rule. But I still believe love can last long. Your unfailing love has made me strong. You are the one I can depend upon. Come what may, you love me all along. Who died on the cross and took away my curse. Great is your love, I don't think I should deserve. Your bleeding hands prove your love unreserved. You're my only joy and treasure on the earth. Giving everything to you is all I pray. Use my life to serve you truly every day. I'll hold your hands and give you all my praise. Let the whole world know your love and grace. Who died on the cross and took away my curse. Great is your love, I don't think I should deserve. Your bleeding hands prove your love unreserved. You're my only joy and treasure on the earth. Giving everything to you is all I pray. Use my life to serve you truly every day. I'll hold your hands and give you all my praise. Let the whole world know your love and grace. I'll hold your hands and give you all my praise. Let the whole world know your love and grace. Let's turn back to Chinese. 我哋有讀經嘅時間喺馬太福音28章16到20節。請聽我讀出第16節。11個門徒往加利利去，到了耶穌約定的山上，他們見了耶穌就拜他，然而還有疑惑。耶穌進前來對他們說：天上地下所有的權柄都賜給我了，所以你們要去，使萬民作我的門徒，奉父子聖靈的名給他們施洗。凡我所吩咐你們的，都教訓他們遵守。我就常與你們同在，直到世界的末了。跟住你嘅詩歌，盼望能夠成為我哋每一個人嘅禱告，亦都係對今個週末嘅宣教士述職作嘅一個回應。在你跟前，再不拖延，願擺脫舊我的污 為弱點，自知妥協，搖動了信念，望你施恩寬恕改變，在你跟前獻出忠誠，願將你導引的方向認清，用心傾聽，重拾我使命，願與基督心意和應，在你跟前再不拖延，願擺脱舊我的污穢弱點，自知妥協，搖動了信念，望你施恩寬恕改變，在你跟前獻出忠誠，願將你導引的方向認清，用心傾聽，重拾我使命，願與基督心意和應，用心傾聽，重拾我使命，願與基督心意和應。各位弟兄姊妹請坐。
À un moment clé de ma vie, en 2018, je me suis rendu compte qu'il y avait quelque chose qui allait pas. Même mon propre péché pouvait me rattraper et j'étais vraiment attristé par ça parce que j'étais un peu face au mur. Et je sais que j'avais besoin de relations d'aide. Je sais que je connaissais pas du tout le counseling, la relation d'aide, soul care, tout ça. C'était un peu inconnu pour moi. Et c'est là où j'ai rencontré Brett et Céline. Et j'ai appelé Brett, je lui ai dit écoute Brett, voilà où j'en suis dans ma vie, voilà avec quoi je galère, voilà c'est quoi mes fautes. je crois pas que le soul care ce soit fait pour moi. Et parce que j'avais l'impression que le soul care c'était une formation. Et à ce moment-là, j'avais pas besoin d'une formation. J'avais besoin d'une restauration, j'avais besoin de me relever, j'avais besoin d'en apprendre plus et d'aller plus loin intimement avec le Seigneur. Et Brett m'a dit, parce que t'en es là, viens. Et quand j'y suis allé, au début on nous a dit, oui, ça va être 8, 9 modules, et on va voir des choses ensemble, on va grandir avec le Seigneur, on va revoir des bases, l'intimité, l'écoute, le Saint-Esprit. Et au fur et à mesure, je me rendais compte que c'était pas une formation, et que c'était une formation qui allait durer toute ma vie. Et ça m'a beaucoup touché parce que c'est pas quelque chose qui va remonter notre amour-propre parce qu'on se sent pas bien. C'est pas quelque chose, la relation d'aide ou le counseling, c'est pas quelque chose qui va nous faire du bien en apparence et nous caresser. C'est un petit peu comme si Dieu soulevait la pierre de nos cœurs, on y voit toute la crasse et on reste éveillé, on est observateur. Vous savez, quand on est malade, on a envie d'aller à l'hôpital, de se faire endormir et de se réveiller et que tout aille bien. Là, on va à l'hôpital, on se fait pas endormir. On voit Dieu qui ouvre notre corps, notre cœur, et on est participant avec lui. Et limite, c'est nous qui disions, mais ça, je savais même pas que j'avais ça en moi, je veux pas, enlève-le. Et Dieu nous opère à cœur ouvert et devant nos propres yeux. On est témoin de cette opération et on veut qu'une chose, c'est qu'on continue à changer perpétuellement. Et je pense que c'est une des formations qui m'a le plus impacté parce que c'est pas une formation ici, c'est une formation du cœur. Et c'est aussi pour ça que derrière, c'est ce que je veux faire plus tard, accompagner les gens et me former là-dedans.
Đại家好，我哋再一次歡迎大家翻到嚟教會一齊敬拜，或者你喺網上嘅咁我哋中間好似我都見到有啲新朋友，我哋都歡迎你哋參加我哋嘅崇拜讓我哋留意幾件嘅事情第一呢，就係呢，我哋嚟緊4月3號嗰個全教會祈禱會呢，就將會係實體啦。咁咧時間就會喺呢一堂崇拜之後12點半到啦，我哋就會聚埋一齊有半個鐘嘅時間，特別為教會祈禱嘅。所以請大家留意呢件嘅事情頭先我睇報告嘅時候，驚住大家唔知有冇睇漏眼所以請大家記得留意呢件嘅事情好，我哋一齊低頭，我哋祈禱。主，我哋再一次多謝你嘅恩典，讓我哋能夠翻到你嘅殿裏邊嚟到去敬拜你。或者我哋仲係喺屋企嘅，我求你咧都幫助我哋喺呢個時間嘅裏邊，讓我哋都能夠安靜我哋嘅心嚟到去敬拜你。主，當我哋翻到你面前嘅時候，喺今日呢一個特別嘅時間，呢個主日嘅裏邊呢，我哋再一次要為到普世宣教嘅工作祈禱。我哋睇到喺呢個世界上呢，仲係有好多嘅地方，佢哋有好多未得之民，求你呢都繼續嘅讓呢一個嘅宣教嘅事工順喺我哋嘅心裏邊，唔係因為其他嘅原因，就係因為呢個就係你自己最關心嘅事情。我又求你特別嘅喺呢一個世界舞台上邊，好多政治嘅局面，好多其他嘅因素，導致到有好多嘅混亂，有好多嘅動盪。我求你都特別保守，賜福俾每一個你自己呼召差派到唔同工場嘅人，無論佢哋喺一啲好封閉嘅地方，或者係喺一啲有戰亂嘅地方，求你特別嘅嚟到憐憫、保守、看顧佢哋。有好多嘅宣教士因着呢個局勢嘅緣故，佢哋唔能夠好清晰嘅睇到自己前面要行嘅道路嘅時候，我求你都為佢哋預備喺呢一個等待嘅時間，一定係唔容易嘅。求你就讓佢哋睇到你嘅心意係乜嘢，又求你繼續嘅幫助佢哋，讓佢哋嘅順服嘅心唔會少過當日佢哋帶住戰兢、帶住唔肯定嚟到行出呢一步，去到你要佢哋去嘅工場。就我哋將佢哋交你嘅手中，亦都為烏克蘭嘅地方求你特別嘅憐憫。 睇到戰事咧仍然係繼續，求你都繼續嚟到去保守看顧當地嘅百姓。我哋都冇忘記，其實喺俄羅斯嘅裏邊咧都有好多嘅人咧都係受到呢個戰爭嘅影響嘅。求你都特別嘅恩待憐憫，平息戰火，減少流血嘅事件，讓呢一個嘅戰爭快快嘅停息。如當我哋翻到你面前嘅時候，我哋繼續嘅嚟到求你恩待憐憫保守我哋弟兄姊妹當中，特別咧有好多我哋至親離世嘅，我求你咧都特別嘅嚟到恩待憐憫安慰。特別喺呢個非常嘅時間，要去奔喪都唔係一件必然嘅事嘅時候，我求你特別嘅幫助弟兄姊妹喺呢一段艱難嘅時間，更經歷到你自己嘅大愛，你嘅加力同埋弟兄姊妹嘅扶持。主，我哋多謝你，讓我哋喺教會嘅裏邊，我哋有機會用唔同嘅方式嚟到敬拜，亦都多謝你俾我哋有豐富嘅供應，我哋將奉獻帶到你嘅面前，求你悅納，又求你賜福俾每一個奉獻得甘心樂意嘅弟兄姊妹，將呢啲嘅資源金錢用喺你自己聖工上，奉耶穌基督得勝嘅名字祈禱，阿門。嚟緊我哋呢個禮拜五咧就會開始我哋又一季嘅呢一個啟發課程同埋啟發嘅教養兒童嘅。咁咧其實我就諗起呢一個工作咧喺信實谷宣道會，根據我嘅理解咧就係阿 Brett 同阿 Celine 佢哋喺度嘅時候開始嘅，所以我哋今日延續到今日非常之難得。咁如果你琴晚兩晚又嚟我哋嘅參加嘅聚會嘅時候咧，或者你喺網上見到嘅時候，你就依稀記得我哋提翻2001年咧，神就呼召阿 Brett 同阿 Celine 嚟到我哋教會嗰度咧，嚟到其實裝備佢哋出宣教工場。咁佢哋喺我哋呢度有幾年嘅時間。阿 Brett 就係英文牧師，阿 Celine 就係呢個青少年嘅牧師。然之後咧，佢哋經過2-3年咧，喺2004年佢哋咧就出發去到科索沃嘅地方嚟到做宣教。咁頭先阿 Dicky 都同我哋分享咗嗰一部分啦。所以我哋今日咧好開心，今次佢哋再一次翻到嚟我哋嘅呢個地方嚟到去述職。佢哋前面嘅道路咧，我哋需要祈禱，佢哋都喺度摸索緊神嘅心意。所以我哋今朝好感謝主，阿 Brett 喺英文堂，阿 Celine 喺國語堂咧都分享咗神嘅話語。喺我哋未將時間交俾阿 Brett 之前咧，讓我哋一齊熱烈嘅掌聲歡迎 Brett、Celine and Aiden。Stand, please. Thank you. Emily 咧依家喺紐約我哋宣道會嘅學校裏邊讀緊大學，所以我哋都繼續為佢哋一家嚟到禱告。好，依家我哋用熱烈掌聲歡迎 Brett 我哋嘅講員 Brett。
Thank you, Pastor. I don't know what you said, but I'm sure it was a warm welcome.
Oh, they are not upset, so must be good.
Josan,
Good morning.
I'm sorry, my Chinese is still bad. That's all I know.
我嘅中文仍然係唔夠好，我就係識得講早晨。
It's such a blessing to be with all of you this morning to worship Jesus
今日
together.
實在係一個好大嘅福氣，可以同大家一齊咧嚟到敬拜神。
You are always a blessing to us.
你哋時常都係我哋一家嘅祝福。
Thank you for your faithful prayers over the years
多謝你哋多年嚟忠心嘅禱告，
and for your sacrificial giving to the Great Commission Fund.
亦都多謝大家好犧牲嘅嚟到去奉獻。
That's allowed us to be in places like Kosovo and France.
無論係我哋喺科索沃嘅侍奉，或者我哋喺法國嘅侍奉，
So thank you
所以多謝大家
for blessing us.
嚟到去祝福我哋。
So I've been visiting a lot of Alliance churches on the weekends.
我喺過去嘅呢段時間咧，都探訪過唔同嘅宣道會。
And a common question that I hear is, does France really need missionaries?
我時常聽到嘅一個嘅問題咧，就係咧，法國需要宣教士咩？
Such a rich history and culture and a land flowing with fresh croissants and coffee.
一個咁豐富咁先進嘅一個嘅地方，有好多嘅牛角包，好多嘅咖啡嘅味道飄逸。
Does France really need missionaries?
其實法國係咪真係需要宣教士呢？
In today's passage, Jesus shows us that his heart is for missionaries to go to places even like France where we do eat fresh croissants and drink coffee.
今日喺我哋嘅經文裏邊咧，我哋就睇到神嘅心意咧，都係要將宣教士、將福音差派到呢啲唔同嘅地方。即使好似呢一個法國，我哋咧好食到好多佢哋牛角包，同埋飲到好多佢哋嘅咖啡。
This morning, when we look at the passage, I'm going to invite you to respond to me, okay? I'm going to ask you a few questions.
今日我哋一同嚟到睇完經文嘅時候咧，我要邀請大家嚟到去同我一齊回應嚇，我會問你一啲問題嘅。
But more importantly, at the end, I'm going to invite you to respond to what God is speaking to you about this morning.
而更加重要嘅就係喺我結束嘅時候咧，我會邀請大家咧嚟到去回應上帝向你説嘅向你所講嘅話，
And to take a step of faith.
又帶住信心行出呢一步。
But you look like people of faith, so I don't think you have a problem with that, right?
我望落去，似乎大家都係帶有信心嘅人，所以呢個應該唔係好難，對你嚟講唔係好難嘅事，
Okay?
係咪啊？得唔得啊
Okay, I got a yes.
？OK， 好，我聽到有人講 yes。
Let's go.
好，我哋一齊出發。
Okay, this morning we're going to look at a passage that is probably very familiar to many of you.
所以今日咧，我哋要睇呢段經文咧，可能對大家嚟講係非常之咁熟悉嘅，
Matthew 28:16 to 20.
就係馬太福音28章16到20節。
I'm going to have Pastor read it for us.
呢個馬太福音28章16節，11個門徒往加利利去，到了耶穌指定嘅山上，他們看見耶穌就拜他，但仍
Oh,
然
wait. Before he continues, I'm going to ask you to do a little bit of homework. As he reads it, watch for how many alls that show up in the passage. Now, go ahead.
喺我哋讀嘅時候咧，請大家留意有功
Sorry,
課，
Pastor.
就係咧你揾出有幾多個一齊或者all。
Now, I know in the Chinese version they're hiding,
我知道喺中文咧，佢依啲字咧係隱藏咗嘅。
but we'll find them together.
我哋一齊嚟到去揾。
Okay, sorry, Pastor. Now
no
you
problem.
can read the passage.
OK，thank you。16節，11個門徒往加利利去，到了耶穌指定嘅山上，他們看見就拜他，但仍然有些人懷疑。耶穌上前嚟對他們說：天上地上一切權柄都賜給我了，所以你們要去使萬民作我的門徒，奉父子聖靈嘅名給他們施洗。我吩咐你們嘅一切都要教導他們遵守，這樣我就常常與你們同在，直到這世代的終結。
So how many alls are there?
大家揾到幾多個一齊？
Two. They're hiding in Chinese.
兩個佢有啲隱藏咗嘅喎。
One of them's hiding in English too. 3, 2. There's actually 4.
三個其實咧有4個啊。
Okay. This morning we're going to look at those 4 alls because I believe they reveal to us how Jesus wants to live the rest of our days.
今日咧，我哋要嚟到睇呢4個嘅一切，就喺段經文嘅裏邊，因為咧呢4個一切話俾我哋聽，耶穌想我哋點樣嚟到過我哋嘅生活。
So traditionally this passage is known as what?
呢一段嘅經文一般咧被稱為乜嘢啊？
The Great Commission.
大使命
Right. A passage I'm sure familiar to you.
相信大家都熟悉嘅。
However, a couple of years ago, a research company discovered that only 17% of churchgoers know the meaning of the Great Commission.
喺好多年前咧，有一個嘅做研究統計嘅機構咧，就發現到咧，呢啲去教會嘅人咧，原來只有17%嘅人咧係知道大使命為何物。
So before we move forward, we're going to make sure that we're all part of the 17%, okay?
所以咧，我哋繼續講嘅時候咧，我哋要肯定我哋大家都係屬於呢17%知道乜嘢大使命嘅。
So look at verses 19 and 20.
好，我哋睇下第19同埋20節。
What is the central action that Jesus is calling his disciples to do?
所以呢一段嘅呢兩節嘅聖經咧，嗰個中心嘅動作嘅行動啊，係乜嘢咧？耶穌叫我哋做乜嘢？
What is it?
做乜嘢？
So in the English version, the first verb is go, but that's not the primary action.
咁喺英文嘅裏邊咧，最先見到嘅嗰個動詞咧係去，但係咧嗰個唔係呢段經文最主要嘅行動。
A better translation of go in English is as you are going.
更正確嘅翻譯咧，呢個去咧應該係翻做當你去嘅時候，係或者喺去嘅過程。
The main action, as somebody said, is to make disciples of all nations.
真正嘅行動咧，好似頭先聽到有人講嘅就係使萬民作我嘅門徒。
So Jesus is saying to us, as you are going, as you are eating, drinking, working, sleeping, make disciples of all nations.
所以耶穌其實係同我哋講咧，當你工作嘅時候，當你返學，當你瞓覺嘅時候咧，要使萬民作我嘅門徒。
Okay, to whom is this sacred mission being given to?
咁呢一個神聖嘅使命咧係俾邊個㗎？
The passage, Jesus talking to the 11 disciples, but it's not just for them.
但係咧呢一個嘅神聖嘅使命咧，耶穌係同11個門徒講，但係咧唔係只係俾11個門徒。
It's not just for pastors and missionaries or evangelists.
呢個亦都唔係咧，只係託付俾牧師啊、宣教士啊、啲傳福音嘅人。
It's for all of us, you and I, together, every disciple of Jesus.
呢個咧其實係俾每一個人，你同我哋所有係耶穌門徒嘅人。
He's called every single person here, regardless of your age, your status, your job, your gender.
呢段嘅呢個使命咧，其實係俾我哋所有嘅人，無論你嘅能力係點樣，你嘅身份、你嘅性別、你嘅種種嘅背景，都係俾你嘅。
Are you following me so far?
大家跟唔跟得到啊？
Very simple. It's not rocket science.
好簡單嘅，呢個唔係咩好高深嘅學問。
But as every word from Jesus is important, these are some of his last words, so they're extremely important.
耶穌所講嘅每一句話都重要，但係咧，既然咧呢一段嘅説話，耶穌臨升天嘅時候講嘅就更加重要啦。
His last words before he ascended to heaven.
呢個係
he said
佢
this.
臨別嘅祝福。
So if those words of Jesus are not part of who we are, then we're missing out on something very significant.
如果耶穌所講嘅一啲嘅説話咧，唔係我哋生活嘅一部分嘅時候咧，呢個咧就係我哋錯過咗好大嘅一樣嘢。
Okay, here's the test.
咪俾大家個測驗。
If somebody comes up to you and asks you, what is the meaning of the Great Commission?
如果有人走埋嚟問你大使命嘅意義係乜嘢？
With a simple phrase, what would you say?
你好簡單嘅，你會點樣講？
In Chinese or English?
喺中文或者英文都得。Go make disciple of all nations。
Yes. Can we say it all together?
我哋可唔可以一齊嚟到講一次？
In Chinese.
使萬民作我的門徒。
One more time.
使萬民作我的門徒。
Congratulations, you're part of the 17%.
恭喜大家，你已經係加入咗呢個17%，知道大使命係咩嘅行列。
Well done.
非常之好。
Great job.
大家做得非常之好。
Okay, let's look at these 4 alls together.
好，我哋一齊嚟睇呢4個嘅一齊。
The first one in verse 19, all nations.
第一個係喺19節，就係講到所有嘅國家或者萬民。
Another way to translate this might be all people groups or all ethnic groups.
或者另外嘅翻譯咧，就係講到咧所有嘅民族、所有嘅族裔。
What we want to do is embrace what Jesus is telling us.
我哋要做嘅就係咧，我哋要嚟到去擁抱或者接受耶穌基督所講嘅。
The heart of Jesus is that he does not want anybody to be denied the opportunity to hear and enter the kingdom of God.
耶穌嘅心意就係咧，佢唔願意任何人咧被剝奪咗佢入神國嘅機會。
He wants everyone to have equal access to the gospel.
佢要俾每一個人咧都有一個公平嘅機會咧接觸到福音。
The problem is there are 4,000 people groups that have limited or zero access to the gospel.
但係咧事實咧就話俾我哋聽，有超過4000個族裔咧，佢哋係好少，甚至乎咧係冇接觸認識耶穌嘅機會。
Equal access to the gospel does not exist worldwide.
公平嘅機會，佢哋可以接觸到耶穌咧，唔係喺全世界都有嘅一個嘅條件。
One way to grasp this global gospel access problem is to answer this question.
其中一個咧，我哋可以嚟到去睇下喺呢個世界嘅舞台上面咧，唔同嘅地方咧，佢哋對呢一個接觸耶穌機會嘅，我哋就問一個問題。
How many doors does a person have to knock on before finding someone to tell them about Jesus?
就係咧個問題就係咧，呢啲人咧佢需要敲幾多道門，佢先有機會咧聽到耶穌福音嘅事。
So on this map in the green areas, a person has to knock on 6 doors before they find someone.
所以你見到咧喺呢個地圖上面綠色嘅部分咧嘅人咧就需要敲6道嘅門，就會有人講福音俾佢聽啦。
Not bad, but we need to continue to create gospel access.
呢個都好理想啦，不過咧我哋要繼續咧讓更多人更容易接觸到福音。
But in the yellow areas, it takes up to 500 doors before somebody can find another person to tell
但係
them
呢啲
about
黃
Jesus.
色嘅地區咧，就係需要咧嚟到去敲500道門，
Less than 2% of the people groups are disciples of Jesus.
因為咧喺呢啲黃色嘅地區咧，有少過2%嘅人咧係基督徒。
In the red areas, it's worse.
喺呢個紅色嘅地區就更加差啦。
Person has to knock on up to 30,000 doors before they find somebody who can tell them about Jesus, if they don't get put in prison in some places.
呢度嘅人咧，佢哋需要咧敲3萬道門啊！如果佢哋唔係喺呢個過程裏邊俾人捉咗去坐監嘅話咧，佢哋要敲3萬道門先有機會聽到福音。
As an Alliance Church, you're part of a worldwide movement of the Alliance that seeks to send missionaries into those places.
我哋作為宣道會嘅一份子咧，你就係我哋宣道會整體，我哋咧要定義，要將呢個福音帶到去呢啲紅色地區嘅人嗰度。
France is located in a yellow region.
呢一個法國咧係喺呢一個黃色地區嘅裏邊。
About 67 million people, but less than 1% are disciples of Jesus.
有6700萬嘅人口，但係少過一個1%嘅人咧係基督徒。
It takes a person up to 200 doors before they find somebody who can tell
喺
them.
法國咧，佢哋需要敲200道門，佢哋先有機會聽到福音。
Churches are great gospel access points, but
教會咧係一個佢哋聽福音一個好好嘅一個接觸點，但係
there are only about 2,500 evangelical churches in France.
喺整個法國咧，只有250多間嘅呢個福音派嘅教會。
Thousands of villages and towns don't have a church.
喺好多成千以計嘅地方咧係冇教會嘅。
And did you know that it's easier to find a spiritual medium than it is to find a Christian pastor?
其實咧喺呢個法國地方，唔知你知唔知咧？你要揾一個靈媒咧係容易過你要揾一位牧師嘅，即係一個福音派牧師。
There are about 100,000 professional healers or mediums, and only a little bit more than 2,000 pastors.
有超過成10,000。
100,000.
OK， 10萬個嘅呢啲靈媒啊，可以用有呢個特異功能可以醫病嘅人咧，但係牧師咧只有2000個。
Do we need missionaries in France?
咁請問我哋需唔需要差宣教士去法國呢？
Yes.
係嘅，我哋需要。
But imagine if all of France had all of Jesus, the kingdom impact that they could make.
但係你想象一下，如果咧喺法國嘅地方咧，所有嘅人都有耶穌嘅全部，佢哋咧睇對嗰個地方嘅影響係幾大？
It's a key country in the European context.
因為呢一個嘅法國咧喺呢個歐洲嘅一帶咧係一個重要嘅國家。
And has great influence in other French-speaking countries.
佢哋其實係對一啲講法文嘅地方咧係有一個好深遠嘅影響嘅。
Let's look at a next all.
我哋睇另外一個嘅一齊。
Verses 19 and 20, Jesus tells us how to make disciples.
19到20節，耶穌話俾我哋聽，我哋點樣嚟到去使萬民作門徒。
One, to baptize them, and number two, to teach them to observe or to obey all that he's commanded.
講到咧，我哋要嚟到去為佢哋施洗，但係咧佢亦都提到我哋要將耶穌吩咐嘅一切嚟到教導佢哋遵守。
We make disciples by being a doorway to show people what the journey with Jesus is like.
我哋咧要嚟到去要使萬民作門徒，我哋就要成為嗰一個嘅門啊，讓人咧能夠接觸到神。
Not just to tell them what Jesus taught, but to show them how to live a surrendered life to him.
唔係只係咧教導佢哋耶穌所教導嘅，而係話俾佢哋聽，俾佢哋睇到咧點樣何為之嚟到去過一個順服、願意奉獻一切俾神嘅人。
And guide them into engaging deeper in the sacred mission of making disciples of all nations.
亦都係引導佢哋咧更加投身植根喺神嘅呢個大使命嗰度。
This is why in the Alliance we have 3 strategic themes.
我哋宣道會咧有3個策略性嘅主題。
We send missionaries around the world to love and serve people and point them to Jesus.
我哋差宣教士去到唔同嘅地方咧，嚟到服侍，亦都嚟到去俾佢哋睇到神嘅愛，讓佢哋能夠認識福音。
We send missionaries not just to plant individual churches, but networks of churches.
我哋唔單止派宣教士去植一啲個別嘅堂會，我哋更加咧係要有一個強嘅教會嘅網絡。
And also we send missionaries around the world to develop people, which is sometimes overlooked
我哋
strategy.
同一時間咧，我哋亦都係差唔同嘅宣教士咧嚟到去栽培一啲嘅人才。而呢個栽培人才呢一方面咧，好多時候咧係被忽略咗嘅。
But if we don't develop disciples of Jesus or spiritual leaders, then things like evangelism, church planting have a weak foundation.
若然間我哋咧唔去栽培一啲嘅領袖、一啲嘅人才嘅話咧，呢一個傳福音嘅工作咧就會成為一個好有一個弱嘅根基。
So as missionaries around the world, we want to see the gospel transform the whole person and lead them into deeper intimacy with Jesus.
所以我哋普世嘅宣教士咧喺宣道會派出去嘅咧，我哋都係着重要嚟到去栽培一個全人嘅一個嘅門徒。
As a result, they will become more effective gospel access creators.
以至到咧呢一啲嘅人咧可以成為一個更有效率嘅讓更多人能夠接觸到福音嘅人。
So during especially these last 5 years in Paris, we have spent most of our time developing young French leaders in the Alliance churches.
喺我哋過去嘅呢5年嘅時間咧，我哋就係特別專注喺嚟到去栽培喺法國嘅一啲年青人嘅領袖。
And one area that we have sought to develop them was in the area of soul care.
其中一個方面咧，我哋做呢一樣嘢嘅就係呢一個心靈關懷嘅呢一個嘅事工。
So during this journey that we call life, sometimes the suitcase of our soul gets filled up with the negative things that affect our relationship with God and others.
有啲時候喺呢個人生嘅旅途，我哋稱之為人生嘅呢個過程嘅裏邊咧，我哋嗰個嘅行李裝滿咗好多唔係好健康嘅一啲嘅嘢，
Like anger, bitterness, unforgiveness, fear.
例如一啲嘅憤怒啦，一啲嘅苦毒啦，一啲嘅恐懼啦，或者一啲唔願意饒恕人嘅心。
As a result, there's no place for things like God, things like joy, peace, hope.
因為咁嘅緣故咧，我哋咧就冇任何嘅空間嚟到去讓神嘅喜樂神嘅其他嘅嘢咧嚟到去喺我哋嘅生命裏邊出現。
And what happens is that we, instead of being a gospel access point, we become a gospel access roadblock.
以期咧成為呢一個福音，讓人能夠接觸到福音嘅一個途徑咧，我哋成為咗人哋接觸福音嘅障礙。
So with God, we need to unpack our souls.
所以咧，我哋咧要嚟到去處理我哋嘅心靈，
And invite him to fill him with himself.
讓神咧能夠係充滿我哋。
We need the healing of Jesus, not physically, but also in our inner souls.
我哋需要經歷耶穌嘅醫治，唔係喺肉體上嘅醫治，而係心靈嘅醫治。
So these past 5 years, about 100 French leaders attended a soul care retreat and then followed up with mentoring groups.
我哋喺過去嘅最近呢，有一個嘅退休會咧，有差唔多100位嘅呢個教會嘅領袖咧嚟到參加呢一個嘅聚會。我哋亦都有一啲嘅小組嚟到去分派佢哋去嘅。
And together we lived out biblical principles that would lead us into profound healing and transformation in God.
我哋就一齊嚟到去經歷呢一個神嘅醫治，以至到我哋有一個健康嘅心靈。
Along the way, many leaders like Alex and Natasha, who you saw in the video, encountered God and experienced freedom and fullness of Jesus.
就喺呢一個嘅退休會裏邊，呢一啲嘅課程嘅裏邊咧，我哋見到咧，好似頭先你見到嘅 Alex 同Natasha，佢哋咧就經歷到神嗰個嘅醫治。
And now they are guiding and mentoring others in those same things.
依家咧佢哋咧就係肩負起呢一個咧嚟到去幫助其他人嘅呢一個嘅責任。
And God is transforming others through them.
神亦都係透過佢哋咧嚟到去改變更多嘅人。
Gospel access is being multiplied, sustained, and created because of Alex and Natasha.
呢個福音嘅接觸點咧就係因為呢個 Alex 同埋 Natasha 咧就變得係更廣闊啦。
It's been an amazing gift to watch God transform these young leaders.
可以見證到神點樣嚟到改變人咧，係一個好寶貴嘅禮物。
However, I have to confess to you,
我需要同大家嚟到去承認。
sometimes this beautiful mission that God has given to us seems so overwhelming.
呢啲所謂神俾我哋一啲好美麗嘅一啲嘅任務咧，其實咧 睇起嚟咧有時叫我哋咧係唞唔過氣嘅。
And when I look at it with my human eyes, it looks impossible.
當我用人嘅眼光嚟到睇嘅時候咧，真係覺得係唔可能嘅。
So much pain and suffering in the world today.
睇到呢個世界咧係充斥着咁多嘅痛苦，咁多嘅眼淚。
So if our perspective is not clear and secure about who Jesus is and the mission that he's given to us, then we'll be consumed with fear and doubt.
若然間咧，我哋唔係好正確嘅睇到咧，耶穌係點樣嗰位神咧，我哋就好容易俾我哋生命裏邊嘅一啲嘅恐懼同埋一啲嘅一啲嘅懷疑咧嚟到去吞食咗我哋。
And then we'll want to give up.
我哋就好容易咧放棄。
In verse 17, before Jesus gave the Great Commission, when the disciples saw Jesus, they worshipped him.
喺耶穌未頒布呢一個大使命之前咧，17節嗰度咧就講到咧，有人咧見到耶穌就拜佢。
But it says some doubted.
但係呢一節聖經都話俾我哋聽，但咧仍然有些人懷疑。
Here's a fifth unwritten all.
呢個就係第5個一齊。
Not all of the disciples were totally aligned with Jesus and his mission.
唔係所有，唔係一切嘅門徒咧都睇得到耶穌所講嘅嘢。
They had their own ideas about who the Messiah should be and what the kingdom of God is about.
因為佢哋自己心裏邊咧有佢自己嘅諗法，彌賽亞應該係點嘅，神嘅國度應該係乜嘢。
I think their doubt was rooted in that they had trouble seeing beyond themselves.
佢哋呢啲嘅懷疑咧係因為咧佢哋唔能夠睇超過自己啊。
They made the kingdom of God too much about me.
佢哋將神嘅國度、神嘅工作咧規範喺佢哋自己，
And not all about Jesus.
唔係完全關乎耶穌。
To be honest, sometimes I have the same problem as these doubting disciples.
其實好坦白嘅講，我發到咧有啲好多時候我都係好似呢一啲帶住懷疑嘅門徒。
Sometimes I find myself in a place where I'm not aligned with who Jesus is.
有好多時候咧，我都發到我自己唔係時常咧都能夠同耶穌是誰嚟到看齊。
Because I'm holding too tightly on the fear and doubt.
因為咧我緊緊捉住好多嘅懷疑，好多嘅恐懼。
And not his truth and faith.
唔係耶穌基督嘅真理同埋信心。
But guess what? There's good news.
但係咧有好消息嘅。
It says here that Jesus was still present with his disciples even in their doubt. He didn't leave them.
耶穌話俾我哋聽咧，即使喺佢哋懷疑嘅當時咧，耶穌仍然與佢哋同在，耶穌冇離開佢哋。
The good news is that Jesus still stays with us even when we doubt and fear.
所以個好消息就係咧，即使係當我哋懷疑嘅時候咧，耶穌仍然咧係同我哋一齊嘅。
He will not leave us.
佢唔會離開我哋。
In the next two alls, Jesus gives us two keys that helps us overcome doubt and fear in this mission.
然之後咧，耶穌俾我哋兩把嘅鎖匙咧，讓我哋能夠嚟到去克服呢個懷疑同埋恐懼。
In first key in verse 18, Jesus tells them that all authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me.
第一把嘅鎖匙咧，就係喺第18節，耶穌話：天上地上一切權柄都賜給我了。
Friends, this is a truth that the enemy does not want you to believe and live in.
弟兄姊妹，呢一個咧就係惡者唔願意你知道嘅一個嘅真理。
The truth is we cannot fail in this mission because we carry the king's credentials.
嘅事實就係話咧，我哋喺呢一個宣教嘅呢一個嘅工作上面咧，呢個任務上面咧，我哋係唔可能失敗嘅，因為咧我哋係帶住君王嘅憑據。
The scriptures tell us that God raised us up with Jesus and we are at his right hand this very moment seated with the King of Kings.
因為咧耶穌話俾我哋聽咧，我哋係被佢拯救嘅，我哋係喺佢嘅右邊，同呢個萬王之王一齊坐席。
It's an amazing mystery, but it's a truth that is incredible.
呢個係一個好奇妙嘅一個嘅真理，但係咧佢係一個好實在嘅真理。
We possess all of the king's authority.
我哋其實係有上帝俾我哋嘅一切嘅權柄。
And if we hold on to it and live in it, then life will never be the same.
若然間咧，我哋係緊緊捉住呢啲權柄，同埋咧係以呢個權柄嚟到過我哋嘅生活嘅時候，一切都會唔一樣。
And people around us will be transformed by
我
him.
我哋身邊嘅人咧就會因此得到改變。
You see, this sacred mission isn't about how much skill we have, the knowledge that we have, or our status.
因為咧呢一個神聖嘅任務咧，完全唔係在乎你有幾多嘅能力，你係邊個，你有乜嘢嘅影響力，
It's about how great Jesus is.
係因為咧係關乎咧耶穌基督有幾偉大。
The second key to overcome doubt and fear is in verse 20.
第二把嘅鎖匙咧就係喺呢個第20節，
This is after Jesus gives us the sacred mission.
就係當耶穌俾咗呢一個嘅神聖嘅使命之後，
He says, And behold, I am with you always to the end of the age.
耶穌就話：這樣我就常常與你們同在，直到世代嘅終結。
Jesus is telling us, don't take your eyes off of me.
耶穌話咧：你唔好將你嘅眼目轉離，從我身上轉離。
My power and my presence is with you 24/7.
我嘅能力同埋我嘅同在係24小時，每個禮拜7日，每一日都同你一齊。
I am all you need.
我就係你唯一需要嘅。
It's like two bookends with these two truths. It's Jesus who's holding us up in this mission.
就好似我哋書架上嘅頭尾嘅嗰兩個嘅嘢，
We have all of his power, his presence, and authority all the time.
我哋時常都會有神嘅同在同埋佢嘅能力。
Friends, if you want to see God show up in your life, take a risk.
若然間你要睇到神喺你生命裏邊嗰個嘅同在嘅話咧，你需要嚟到去冒險。
In my experience, when we engage in this great mission of making disciples of all nations in a way that we have no other option than to trust him, then his power and presence and authority will be revealed.
當我哋喺我經驗裏邊咧，就係當我哋投身喺呢一個使萬民作門徒嘅呢一個嘅任務裏邊嘅時候咧，我哋就將自己擺喺一個咧冇辦法唔翻到嚟神嘅面前咧，嚟到去經歷佢嘅能力同埋權柄。
You know, sometimes the worst enemy, the biggest obstacle is ourself.
有啲時候我哋最大嘅敵人、最大嘅障礙就係我哋自己。
We make this great story too much about who we are or who we're not.
我哋好多時候咧，將我哋是誰或者我哋不是誰咧，嚟到去過分嘅膨脹。
And this just extinguishes our faith.
呢個咧就將我哋嘅信心撲滅啦。
And then we whine and we complain because we don't see God.
於是乎咧，我哋就喺我哋嘅生命裏邊充滿咗好多嘅埋怨、好多嘅投訴，因為我哋見唔到上帝。
Take a moment and imagine with me.
請大家咧用一啲嘅時間嚟到去想像一下，同我一齊。
What would happen if all of us surrendered all of ourselves to all of Jesus?
若然想像一下，如果我哋所有嘅我哋咧都願意向耶穌嘅所有嚟到去降服，我哋會變成點樣嘅人？
Life would not be easy. Jesus never promised that.
我哋嘅人生未必會過得更加輕鬆，耶穌亦都冇咁樣承諾過。
But things will change because the authority, presence, and power of Jesus will be revealed through us.
但係咧，我哋嘅生命會不再一樣，因為咧耶穌基督嘅權柄、佢嘅同在同埋能力咧，會與我哋一齊。
Claire is a very quiet and reserved young lady.
Claire 係一個好內向、好安靜嘅一個嘅姊妹。
But when she walks into the room, she brings joy.
但係咧，當佢一行入去任何一個地方嘅時候咧，佢都將喜樂帶到嗰個地方。
But this wasn't always true for Claire.
但係咧，呢個其實唔係 Claire 一直以嚟嘅一個經驗。
She gave her life to Jesus at a young age.
佢好細個嘅時候咧，就將佢嘅生命交咗俾耶穌。
But when she was about 12 years old, her father left her and her family and left the country.
佢嘅爸爸喺佢12歲嗰年咧，就離開就拋棄咗佢同埋佢嘅媽媽離開咗法國。
For many years, the poison of unforgiveness ate away at her soul. She was full of bitterness and anger towards her father.
好多年嘅時間咧，呢一個嘅姊妹咧 Claire 咧，就係俾呢一種嘅苦毒，呢一種唔能夠原諒爸爸嘅呢種嘅情緒咧嚟到去侵蝕佢。
Furthermore, Claire, unfortunately, was taught by the church that to forgive means to forget.
好可惜嘅就係咧 ，Claire 嘅教會嘅教導就話俾佢聽咧，你原諒咧就代表你要忘記過去嘅傷痛。
Claire, she'll never forget.
但係 Claire 心裏邊嘅掙扎就係咧，佢冇辦法去忘記。
The pain was deeper than she realized or even wanted to admit.
呢一個嘅傷害咧，係深過佢所知道佢所想像嘅。
Is there any hope for Claire?
咁對阿 Claire 嚟講有冇盼望咧？
5 years ago, we met Claire during a soul care retreat, and she participated in the mentoring groups.
喺5年前咧，我哋就喺呢一個心靈健康嘅退休會裏邊咧認識咗阿 Claire。
She brought that hatred towards her father in the light before God and before others.
佢就將佢同爸爸嗰個嘅傷害嗰啲嘅憤怒咧、仇恨咧帶到嚟神嘅面前。
And when she did, she experienced God's forgiveness in a profound way.
當佢咁樣做嘅時候咧，佢就經歷到上帝嗰個嘅醫治。
And as hard as it was, she forgave her father in her heart.
佢雖然咧呢個係好難嘅一件事，但係咧佢係由心裏邊咧嚟到真真正正咧寬恕佢嘅爸爸。
And God transformed her.
神咧就係咁樣嚟到去改變佢。
She received the joy and freedom like she hadn't experienced before.
佢就係喺咁嘅情況嘅裏邊咧，就經歷咗一個佢從來都未經歷過嘅呢一個嘅喜樂同埋釋放。
The change was so dramatic that her mother was asking what was happening in her life.
佢經歷嘅改變係咁明顯到一個地步咧，佢見到佢媽媽嘅時候，媽媽問佢：喂，你發生咗咩事啊？
And so Claire began to tell her.
所以咧，阿 Claire 就開始同媽媽講發生咩事。
And then one day it happened.
跟住有一件事發生啦。
Her father came back to France.
佢嘅爸爸又翻到嚟法國。
But he wasn't looking for Claire. He was looking for money.
佢唔係要揾個女，佢係要揾錢。
Can you imagine how she felt?
你可唔可以想像呢個作為女嘅感受係點樣樣？
But you know what? Claire wanted to meet him.
但係咧，阿 Claire 咧卻係話我要去見佢。
Why would she want to do such a thing?
佢點解要去見呢個咁樣嘅爸爸呢？
Because she wanted to forgive him face to face.
因為咧，佢要當面嘅嚟到去寬恕佢。
And that's exactly what she did.
咁咧，佢就係咁樣做咗呢件事。
In fact, she had an opportunity to share more about who Jesus with him.
佢唔單止係有機會見到爸爸，佢更加有機會咧將耶穌是誰嚟到同爸爸分享。
And we're still praying that one day he surrenders to Jesus.
我哋都繼續祈禱咧，有一日希望咧佢嘅爸爸咧都願意嚟到將佢嘅生命咧嚟到去向神降服。
Today, wherever Claire goes, she brings the joy of God with her.
今日無論阿 Claire 去到邊度咧，佢都帶住神嘅喜樂去到嗰個地方。
And people see Jesus.
人就因為 Claire 見到耶穌。
In fact, she recently quit her nice job so that she can join a mission agency to send other people to unreached people groups.
其實最近咧，佢放棄咗佢自己嘅一份好嘅工作，參加咗一啲宣教嘅機構嚟到去將宣教士差到去一啲未得之民嘅地方。
See, Claire gave all of herself to all of Jesus.
你睇到 Claire 咧係將佢自己嘅所有嚟到去奉獻俾耶穌。
And it's a daily journey.
呢個係一個好大膽嘅一個嘅行動。
His power, his presence, his authority was revealed through her.
耶穌基督嘅同在，佢嗰個嘅能力咧、權柄咧，就喺佢嘅身上嚟到去表現出嚟。
This morning, God is calling you
今朝早，上帝係呼召你
to partner with him to make disciples of all nations in a way that is beyond what you think is possible or imaginable.
與神同工，使萬民作門徒，過於你可以想像或者係可以睇得到嘅。
And he's really excited about it.
而上帝係好興奮對於呢件事。
Maybe it's to pray for a specific people group.
可能咧，你係專注嚟到去為一啲未得之民嚟到禱告，
Or give only a little bit more beyond what you can actually do.
或者咧你係喺你慣常嘅奉獻裏邊再俾多少少嚟到去支持呢個工作。
Or maybe it's to leave the comfortable and familiar to go to an unpeople group.
或者咧
unreached people group.
或者係離開你自己依家嘅舒適，去到呢一啲未得之民嘅地方。
The step might be very clear to you, or you just might have no idea what to do next.
下一步咧可能係對你咧好清晰嘅，又或者咧下一步咧係你仲係唔係好肯定嘅。
But God is calling you.
但係神係呼召你，
But you have some fear and doubt.
你係會有一啲嘅懷疑，會有一啲嘅恐懼。
Remember that He has given all of Himself to you.
但係咧你要記得咧，耶穌已經將佢嘅全部俾過咗你。
He has shown that he's gone to the cross and overcame death for you.
佢就係佢再一次話俾你聽咧，佢係十字架嘅神，佢係將佢將佢嘅生命擺上嚟並且復活。
He is faithful and he will always do his part.
佢係信實嘅神，佢永遠咧都會盡佢做佢所講過嘅嘢。
The question is, will you do your part?
咁問題就係咧，你係咪願意做你嗰部分呢？
But listen carefully.
請大家小心嘅聽，
Remember,
大家記得
what is most important to God is not what you can do for him.
對神嚟講最重要嘅嘢唔係你可以為佢做啲咩嘢，
What he really wants is all of your heart.
佢最想要嘅咧係你心嘅全部。
So the question is, will you surrender to him?
所以個問題就係咧，你係咪願意嚟到去降服喺佢面前？
This morning, let's not wait. Let's go to the King and say to him,
今朝
Jesus, I give you all,
今
give
朝
my all to you.
今朝早上咧，讓我哋咧唔好再遲疑，我哋嚟到神嘅面前話，我哋願意將我哋所有嚟到去俾過你。
Will you do that with me this morning?
你係咪願意同我一齊嚟到做呢件事呢？
Let's pray together.
讓我哋一齊祈禱。
As I pray this prayer, just simply pray it quietly in your own hearts.
當我祈禱嘅時候咧，請大家安靜嘅喺心裏邊都默默嘅禱告。
First, tell Jesus what it is that you fear and doubt. Do that silently in your own words.
你就安靜嘅喺耶穌面前問耶穌，到底你想我做啲乜嘢？
Say, I'm sorry, I have been making this all about me and not all about you.
同神話我好對你唔住，因為咧我時常都將呢一啲嘅事情咧看我自己重要過一切。
Now give yourself to him, saying, Jesus, I trust you. I give you all my life.
然之後咧將你自己獻上俾神，同神話咧，我嚟到將我自己所有嚟到去俾過你。
And now tell him this. With your authority, your power and presence, I will take a step of faith. And tell him what that step of faith is.
然之後你同神講話就因着你俾你嘅權柄、你嘅同在同埋你嘅能力，我願意嚟到去踏出呢個信心嘅一步。話俾神聽呢個信心嘅一步係乜嘢？
With your eyes still closed, if you prayed that prayer, just simply raise your hand quickly and then lower it again. I want to pray for you.
我哋喺眼仍然係眯埋嘅時候呢，如果你頭先做咗我講嘅祈禱嘅話呢，請你輕輕舉手，我要為你祈
It's
禱。
not to embarrass you. Just simply raise your hand quickly.
我
And
唔係要大家
Lower it.
難為，你只係輕輕嘅舉手。如果頭先你又祈頭先我講嘅祈禱嘅話呢，輕輕舉手，我要為你祈禱。
anyone?
有冇？
Thank you.
多謝，
Thank you.
多謝。
Anyone else?
仲有冇其他人？
Thank you. Just want to pray for you. Thank you. Thank you.
多謝。
Anyone else?
仲有冇？
Let me pray for you.
我哋一齊，我哋為你祈禱。
Father, your children have given all to you.
主，你嘅兒女已經將佢哋全部俾過你。
I ask that you would give them out of your riches a strength in their inner being.
喺你嘅豐盛，喺你嘅能力裏邊呢，我求你都將你自己賜過俾佢哋。
Fill them with the power of your Spirit so that through faith Jesus would dwell deeply in their hearts.
求你充滿佢哋，以致到呢你兒子耶穌基督呢係充滿嘅住喺佢哋嘅生命嘅裏邊。
I pray against any fear, doubt, control.
我求你呢保守佢哋從呢一個恐懼懷疑嘅裏邊，
And may it be replaced with your fullness.
又求你以你自己嘅豐盛嚟到取代恐懼同埋懷疑。
Consume them with your love.
讓你嘅愛嚟到去充滿佢哋，
And as a result, may all the world know all of Jesus through them.
亦都係因為咁嘅緣故呢，我哋願意全世界都能夠認識耶穌嘅全部，因為佢哋嘅緣故。
In Jesus' name I pray.
奉
Amen.
耶穌嘅名求，
Thank you.
讓我哋一齊同心，我哋都喺神嘅面前立志，我哋再一次嚟到唱在你跟前。
頂住和之我哋一同嘅起立， 再唱在你跟前。在你跟前，再不拖延，願擺脫救我的污穢弱點，自知拖欠，搖動了信念，望你施恩寬恕改變，在你跟前。獻出忠誠，願將你導引的方向認清，用心傾聽，重拾我使命，願與基督心意和應。我哋再唱一次。在你跟前。再不拖延，願擺脫救我的污穢弱點，自知拖欠，搖動了信念，望你施恩寬恕改變，在你跟前獻出忠誠。願將你導引的方向認清，用心傾聽，重拾我使命，願與基督心意和應，用心傾聽，重拾我使命，願與基督心意和應。
主，求你幫助我哋，讓我哋都願意嚟到你嘅跟前。我哋唔再拖延我哋今日聽到嘅信息，求你幫助我哋踏出信心嘅一步。絕對唔係關乎我哋自己，完全關乎主耶穌。奉耶穌基督聖名祈求，阿們。好，我哋一齊嚟到唱三一頌。
讚美真神萬福之根，地上生靈當讚主恩，天上萬軍眾讚主名，讚美聖父、聖子、聖靈。
我一齊低頭領受上帝嘅祝福。Let's receive the benediction。願平安、慈愛、信心從父上帝和主耶穌基督臨到眾弟兄姊妹。願一切以不朽嘅愛我們主耶穌基督嘅人都蒙恩惠，奉聖父、聖子、聖靈嘅名，阿門。好，請坐，我哋小時間安靜默禱，我哋可以彼此問安之後結束今日嘅崇拜。